Welcome to What's Cooking in Real Estate, where we talk about the real estate market while preparing one of our favorite meals.
Why don't you come on in and let's check out the house. Today what we're going to be making are thick Iowa cut pork chops with a Parmesan crusted Acorn Squash. And everything that we got that we're making today was purchased within 15 minutes from here from local companies that we love in this area.
So for the Acorn Squash, we're going to scoop out all the guts, we're going to cut it into smaller pieces and toss it with some olive oil, some herbs and some Parmesan and bake it for about 20-25 minutes.
All right, so for the pork chop, I went to the pork shop in Santan Valley, which is only about 15 minutes from here, and they have probably the best bacon I've ever had in the valley. All right, so I like them real thick and juicy, and because of how thick it is, we can be pretty liberal with the amount of salt that we use, so don't shy away from it. So we're gonna use some salt and pepper, and then I've got some Mr. Fantasticals barbecue rub that we're gonna use on here as well. And we're gonna be pretty liberal with that. Oh, Lindsay, would you mind holding open the bag for me?
Sure.
You remember that part in the movie Spaceballs where they're sucking the atmosphere out of the planet? Suck, suck, suck. All right, now it's ready to go in the tub. So this is called Sous Vide. They spell it all kinds of weird ways, but you say it's Sous Vide. And we want this to be at 140 degrees, and it's going to cook evenly throughout, and it's going to take about 2 hours to cook. After it's finished, it can stay in there for another hour or so, and when you're ready, then you can brown it up. So let's give that a few minutes. All right, so while the pork is cooking, we're gonna make a bourbon maple glaze, and it's gonna be amazing. So we're gonna start with a little bit of maple syrup. Now this is hot, and you gotta be careful when cooking with sugars because it can get a little out of control and they can burn. So crank that up a little bit. And we wanna get that kind of bubbling, and we're gonna add a little bit of apple cider vinegar from Queen Creek Olive Mill. You want the acid to help balance out the sugars. Get that bubbling. And then while we were up in Pine this last week, we got some mesquite honey locally, and this stuff is awesome. So we're gonna add a little bit of that as well. And bubbles are good. We want to see some of the bubbles, mix it up, heat it up. And then to top it off, we're gonna add just a little bit of bourbon. I already took the top off. And we don't have to worry about whether you like alcohol or bourbon or not. This is just gonna be a little bit extra flavor, and it'll burn off in the end. All right, so this is looking a little thin, but once it cools down, it's gonna thicken up. All right, so this has been cooking for about 2 hours now. So we're gonna use some butter. The Queen Creek Olive Mill is literally 8 minutes down the road, and this is some of the best olive oil you'll ever have. All right, so now we're just gonna get it some color. We're gonna do 1 minute on each side, and then we're gonna do 1 extra minute on each side and baste it the second time around. All right, now that we've let it rest a little bit, it's time to cut it up and serve it up here. All right, so I can promise you this is not your grandmother's hockey puck pork chop. This is real thick and juicy and fully cooked. If you don't like the idea of eating pork at 140 degrees, you can cook it a little bit higher, but this is completely safe, and oh my gosh, it is amazing. So thank you for joining us. Be sure to comment, like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff you're supposed to do, and we look forward to having you at the next video.